My name is Alex, and 3 years ago, I moved into what I thought was a decent apartment, only to discover my landlord was a monster in human skin. He stole from me, harassed me, broke the law at every turn, and pushed me to my breaking point. But in the end, I got my revenge, reporting him for code violations that cost him thousands in fines, and landing him a felony charge for breaking and entering. Stick around, because this story of sweet justice is one you won't forget. If you've ever dealt with a slimy landlord who treats you like dirt, or if you've fantasized about getting even with someone who wrongs you, smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another epic revenge tale. Let's dive in. It all started when I signed the lease for this rundown apartment in a quiet suburban town. I was fresh out of college, excited for my first real place, and the rent seemed reasonable, about $800 a month for a one-bedroom. The building was old, with creaky floors and peeling paint, but I figured I could make it home. Little did I know, the real nightmare wasn't the apartment. It was the landlord, a guy named Mr. Harlan. He was in his late 50s, with a perpetual scowl etched into his face, greasy hair slicked back, and eyes that darted around like he was always scheming. From day one, he gave off this vibe of someone who saw tenants not as people, but as walking wallets to squeeze dry. At first, things were minor annoyances. The shared laundry room in the basement had a washer and dryer that all tenants used. One day, I went down to do my load, and the dryer was gone. Just vanished. I asked Mr. Harlan about it, and he shrugged, saying, "Must have been stolen. Not my problem." But I noticed a new dryer in his own unit when I passed by his window later that week. My blood boiled, but I let it slide. I didn't want trouble so soon. Then came the household items disappearing from the common areas. Cleaning supplies, a vacuum cleaner I'd contributed to the building. Again, he'd deny it, but I'd see them in his garage. It felt like a slap in the face each time. This petty theft from someone who already held all the power. As months turned into years, his greed escalated. One winter, the plumbing backed up in my bathroom. Nothing I caused, just old pipes giving out from normal wear and tear. I called him, and he sent a plumber who fixed it but noted it was the building's issue. Mr. Harlan? He billed me $300 for the repair, claiming it was my fault for misuse. I argued, showing him the plumber's report, but he just sneered. Pay up or face eviction. My stomach twisted in knots. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and that money meant skipping meals for a week. I paid it, but resentment simmered inside me like a pot about to boil over. For the first time, I felt truly powerless lying awake at night, fists clenched, imagining ways to make him pay. He didn't stop there. One night, I came home late from work to find my front door ajar. Nothing was missing, but things were rifled through, drawers open, papers scattered. I confronted him the next day, and he admitted trying to inspect the place without notice. "It's my property," he barked, his face turning red, veins bulging in his neck. "I can enter whenever I want." But I knew the law. He needed 24 hours notice. My heart raced with fear. What if he'd done something worse? I started barricading the door at night, jumping at every creak in the old building. The parking spot incident was the tipping point that showed me his true vindictive side. He'd assigned me a spot in the lease, but suddenly sent a letter demanding an extra $150 a month for it, claiming it was a premium space. I refused, consulting a lawyer who confirmed it was illegal. When I sent him a formal response, he went ballistic. "You'll regret this," he hissed over the phone, his voice dripping with malice. True to his word, retaliation followed. Suddenly, inspections became weekly, nitpicking every little thing. He even delayed fixing a leaking roof, letting water drip into my living room for days, ruining my couch. And when I was a couple days late on rent, only because I'd paid that bogus plumbing bill the month before, he slapped me with late fees and eviction threats. All this time, the apartment itself was falling apart, revealing more of his negligence. The porch outside my unit had rotting wood, sagging dangerously. I avoided it after nearly falling through one day, the splintered boards creaking under my weight like a warning. Paint chips from the ceiling fluttered down like snow, landing in my food, my bed. The gas heater? It smelled funny, and I later learned it wasn't up to code, a potential fire hazard. The plumbing, as I discovered from a friend in construction, was illegally installed, bypassing permits to save him money. The place was a death trap, but he didn't care as long as the rent checks cleared. I'd complain and he'd brush it off with a grunt. Fix it yourself if you don't like it. Inside, my frustration built like a storm cloud, dark and heavy, fueling fantasies of exposing him. But I bided my time, paying rent on the dot every month after that, never giving him an excuse. 3 years in, he dropped the bomb, a $500 rent increase. Market rates, he claimed, but I knew it was just greed. The place hadn't improved one bit. That was my out. I found a new apartment, gave notice, and started packing. But I wasn't leaving without a fight. The anger I'd bottled up for years bubbled to the surface, hot and insistent. I remembered all those sleepless nights, the thefts, the threats. No more. It was time for revenge. 4 days before move out, I picked up the phone and called the building inspector. My voice shook at first, but as I spilled everything, the unpermitted porch replacement he'd finally done shoddily, the illegal plumbing, the unsafe heater, the ceiling hazards, it steadied. I listed violation after violation, my words pouring out like a dam breaking. The inspector listened, then said he'd check it out immediately. The next day, I peeked through my blinds and saw him there, tape measure in hand, notepad scribbling furiously. Each code breach meant a $500 daily fine until fixed. My heart pounded with excitement. I could almost hear the cha-ching of penalties piling up. I didn't stick around to see the fallout, but knowing he was now on the town's radar, it felt like a weight lifting off my chest, replaced by a warm glow of satisfaction. But Mr. Harlan wasn't done harassing me. A week before I left, he texted demanding I vacate by noon on move-out day. I ignored it. The law said I had until midnight. He escalated, threatening to call the police if I wasn't gone. Preemptively, I visited the station that morning, explaining the situation. The officers nodded, assuring me I was in the right. Sure enough, as I loaded boxes into my truck, he showed up, face purple with rage. "Get out now," he yelled, spittle flying, pounding on my door. Neighbors peeked out, whispering. I stayed calm, called the cops. They arrived, explained the law to him, and he slunk away, muttering curses. Then the final straw. I stepped out to drop off a load at storage, returning to find my door nailed shut. Nailed. Shut. He'd broken in while I was gone, probably to snoop or sabotage, then sealed it like a tomb. Fury surged through me, hot and electric. I called the police again, demanding a supervisor. "This is harassment," I said, voice steady despite the adrenaline. They pried the door open, documented the break-in. Mr. Harlan had vanished before the supervisor arrived. Smart, because it was a clear felony, breaking and entering. I filed the report, and they confirmed charges were coming. In that moment, standing amid my half-packed boxes, watching the police take photos, a wave of triumph washed over me. All those years of putting up with his crap, and now? Fines racking up daily, a criminal record looming. His shocked expression when the cops confronted him earlier replayed in my mind. Eyes wide, mouth agape, the bully finally cornered. I imagined him sweating over the inspector's report, wallet bleeding from penalties. Relief flooded in, mixed with a fierce joy. I'd won. Looking back, this experience taught me that karma doesn't always come on its own. Sometimes you have to give it a nudge. If someone's treating you like garbage, especially when you're doing everything right, don't just take it. Stand up, know your rights, and fight back smartly. Justice feels incredible when it's earned. If this story fired you up or gave you that satisfying chill down your spine, hit that like button hard and drop a comment below. What's the worst landlord horror you've dealt with, or the sweetest revenge you've pulled off? Subscribe now for more gripping Reddit revenge stories that prove good people can win. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.